And, hi. Yeah, I pour you a glass.
You know, I love, and this happens all the time. See, we show up.
People screw us up!
We show up. They always have a wine glass for Kage. But you know who they don't have a wine glass for? The guy who sits there drinking gasoline. But this is a classy establishment. So, a classy establishment. Well, you know what? I got sick of it. Now we have an emergency. Four.
He's got 2 hands, after all.
And 3 cups, apparently. I'm going to need a very interesting straw for this. That reminds me of last one.
Do you know any echidnas?
I don't know what that word means.
It's an animal. Jesus.
No, it's an herb. It's an herb that people think will cure the cold. An echidna. It's a little herb. It's like a herbal thing that people put into like syrups, and they say it's a cold cure. What? No, echinacea is that skin disease you get that gives you like those red flaky rashes.
I thought only Asians get echinacea.
You went there, didn't you?
We have to start somewhere.
But we're not going to.
Oh, no.
Nope, we're not starting. Nope, we're not going to do anything.
Nope.
You know why?
I don't have wine to do.
That box that the beautiful lady's holding ain't full. You don't get jack shit from us till that box is full. Make with the filler. Just if you would be kind enough.
With money, guys, with money. We don't want a repeat of last year. Oh, those poor kittens.
Go ahead, walk around. And remember, we're watching you. If you need time to get your wallets out, we'll do 1 or 2 funny things, I guess.
You know, if I remember correctly, somebody once said, give till it hurts. But I think here we need to go with give till it doesn't hurt, because they will beat the crap out of you. Be ready. You've been warned.
I'm reminded, down in Florida, Megaplex for many years has supported the CARE Foundation, which is a wild animal and big cat sanctuary.
Thank you.
And the very, very first year we did the auction, we could only do
Thanks
cash.
so much.
So we raised about
I love to see you do this.
$2,000, all in 1s, 5s, and 10s. And the owner of the sanctuary had a shoebox crammed full of money that she was going to take
Oh my
out of the car.
goodness, nice.
And I said, wait, let me get a member of security to go with you. And she stopped and she turned and she said, I wrestle Siberian tigers. You go.
Thank you so much.
Were you privy to
Oh, you're
the
awesome. Our cats, thank you.
oatmeal incident?
got a lot of
at
them.
MFF? The oatmeal incident. You don't know about the oatmeal
I know
incident.
about the butter
There was
situation.
a butter situation.
I don't know about the oatmeal incident.
Okay, so who here works staff at a convention board of directors? Who here works for Continental Pandemics, really? I never knew.
I
You, not
Oh
say
my
you
gosh.
don't. Not your con, not your problem.
special.
Oh yeah, you got it till there.
Oh,
Well, here's something you may not know. So a lot of you see, even at this con, they've all got headpieces in and radios. Well, believe it or not, radios are not that difficult to listen into. It's basically a channel and a call sign. You can listen into it. So there's certain things you don't say over the radio. You don't say fiber. You say run. You don't say we need help moving the money. You come up with a way to say that over the radio, and you especially don't say there's a problem with the money.
No. You say, the faucet in the green room is leaking, or something like that.
Right.
Yep.
Now,
Which
this,
really gets to be a problem when the faucet in the green room is leaking, because people come asking for money at that. Don't take my punchline. Sorry. My fault.
so, it was the Saturday of MFF. I was running Con Suite, and for those of you who were in there, you saw the devil which we call the soda fountain. It is the devil. It has horns, and it was on fire twice. And I was exhausted. Now, one of the board members, he came into the back room of the kitchen, and he was exhausted. And the director of finance came into the back room of the kitchen, and he was exhausted. And for some stupid reason, we started playing with our radios and torturing people because they actually have somebody whose sole job at MFF is when people are screwing around on the radios to tell them to stop.
You need someone to do
You
that.
do, because you get assholes like me who fuck around on the radio.
Are there any children in the audience? They're not going to admit it. Okay. Oh, goddamn. Oh,
He's not a child.
To heck with everything. All right.
Fiddly dee.
We should be good. Oh my goodness gracious me. Please continue your story, my fine fellow.
So what happened was, during our random shouts into the radio, there was a few moments of silence, and I turned around to see one of my sous chefs knock over the box of dry oatmeal. And without thinking about it, I simply said, "The oatmeal has been spilled, the oatmeal has been spilled." All of a sudden, every radio went nuts, and Woody, who was in the kitchen with me and dead exhausted, fell over laughing. Huh, something has occurred. I don't know what, but security goes, "The oatmeal has spilled in what location? Over." Well, we're in the... And Kage smacked the radio and went, "Don't tell them where we are." They are both trying to get on the radio to cancel the call that I had just made because oatmeal was code for money. And spilling the oatmeal was close enough to money is everywhere.
We're being stolen or some such thing.
And security got angry. And I had, if you know her, Data Hawk, screaming into a radio,
Well,
"Where the is the oatmeal?" Well, now none of us can stop laughing, so we can't tell her where the oatmeal is. And the con chairman was on the radio as well, and very calmly went, "Someone is going to die. Where is the oatmeal?" And at that point, the front room went batshit crazy because one of the staff members had a hot mic. So all about 100 people who were sitting down to a lunch heard was, "Where is the oatmeal?" They didn't need to know what it meant, because at that point you've lost control of the con. I don't get a radio anymore at MFF.
Incidentally, everybody is sitting here watching us be idiots, but the reason we're being idiots, not only because it's our nature, but we are supporting Crash's Landing, a wonderful no-kill shelter for nice little kitties. If you just walked in and have not assisted our efforts, there's a beautiful lady with a box sitting over there. Please go over and put cash, large denominations appreciated, in that box. The more cash goes in that box, the more we might start swearing and the more we will drink.
They
Danger.
do take credit cards,
Yep.
just put it into the box.
Danger. 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 I decided, oh, I am Uncle Kage, I am silly, I will do a charity fundraiser at Eurofurnace. I had a big glass here, and I put up a sign that said, "I will drink stuff, €5. And anytime somebody put a €5 note into the can, I took a sip. 1,500 euros. The next morning, I woke up dead. I mean, rigor mortis, cold, you know, I was dead. I was, after 3 whole days, I was dead, you know, in a box and everything. They were getting ready to ship my body home from Germany. 1,500 euros, and apparently, this is not on video, apparently I stumbled into the karaoke bar, they tell me, and then I went up to Big Blue Fox's dance and started trying to make out with Tani Darial. Now this is what they tell me. I don't know whether to believe them or not. Remember, these are the people who invaded Poland. So the moral of the story is, I'm willing to do anything for charity, but from now on, within certain limits.
Or for 1,500 euros.
I'll talk for 1,500. By the way, the lovely lady sitting on the left over there, you might have seen I was outside sitting keeping her company at the table. The poor thing was there by herself. Where were her assistants? But she was out there, so I sat down and I was drawing things, you know, and just trying to help her raise some money for the kiddies. And, okay, you ever, in the comics life, sometimes something just gets handed to you on a silver platter. I didn't even ask for it. All of a sudden, the poor thing started sniffling and got out a tissue, lowering her nose. And I said, what's wrong? She said, believe it or not, I'm allergic to cats. I said, what? And she said, I take 2 allergy tablets a day and, you know, all that. She blew her nose again. And I said, you are really a very brave person. And she said, yeah, the only 2 things I'm allergic to are cats and cockroaches. And she had no idea why I spat out my wine and started laughing. Alkali came over and I told him, and he spat out his booze and started laughing. We had like an entire booze spitting contest. Speaking of booze spitting contests,
Shut up!
I wasn't going to talk about you. I was going to talk about the Canadian. Because the problem is, Alkali is making face noises, I'm making face noises, but when the face is making noise, we cannot put alcohol in our face. If he is amenable, and you guys are okay with it, I'd like Pandez to come up here and make some noise so I can put this in my face. Pandez, would you grab your chair? Would you be so kind? I'm pretty sure that mic up there, that wired, is viable.
Good news, I have another glass.
Good news, everybody.
It's a suppository.
Do you win? Hey, listen, we're going to center this act here.
You could move the table.
No, we ain't no table. That's a union job. Oh, sorry, forgot.
Testing. Oh, it's on.
By the way, that yellow thing is looking into my soul. I don't... Jolteon is more like Satanon. It's just like, I am looking at you. I am seeing you.
No, guys, he just means he looks like the soda machine.
What are you doing? We are not centered on the stage.
You are really OCD.
No, I am not. That's the center of the stage, right there. Yes, symmetry is important shit here. Okay. Stop, important stuff, important things.
If symmetry is important, then why did you put like the heights going like that?
Because we're forming like a triangle here. We're still forming a triangle here. Oh, he's allowed, that's allowed. Now you're allowed. No, you're not Canadian. You're
Yes.
not.
Was that oatmeal?
It's the drunk Muta triangle. That's what we are.
Pandez has a story for you.
I do.
Yeah, remember that story?
Oh, that story.
Yeah,
The
tell
one
me.
that you're going to tell so I can drink?
Oh, let's see. Oh, I'm trying to think of a good story to tell you guys.
Something about Tim Hortons.
Tell them about Tim. You think I live at Tim Hortons or something?
You know, just because he's Canadian doesn't mean he only has Timmy Hortons stories.
Of course he does. Oh, poutine stories. He's got
Right,
poutine.
and craft dinner.
Craft dinner.
After dinner, maple syrup stories.
Oh, the maple syrup story.
I don't
Those are
know if
kinky.
I can tell the maple syrup story in here. Can I tell the maple syrup story?
Dude, it ain't my con. Do what you want.
Well, that's not a story though. That's just stand-up. Like, if you want me to tell a story, I'd have to do like a Comic-Con story.
I want a Comic-Con story.
Do you want a Comic-Con story?
Yeah.
Do you guys want to hear a
to hear-
Comic-Con story?
I want to hear a Comic-Con story.
Okay.
But he's only going to give a Comic-Con story if I see another bill go into that box.
Okay. So, for those of you who don't know, I like to fursuit, but I don't just fursuit, I cosplay. So I have my fursuit and I have a whole bunch of accessories with it.
Excuse me, when you're at a non-furry con, it's cosplay.
And I went to Comic-Con, which I hear people complaining about the size of furry conventions, like they're getting like 5,000, 6,000 people. I went to a Comic-Con that had 60,000 people. So imagine 10 Anthrocons happening simultaneously in one building.
And only 8 of them had a shower.
So I went to one recently and I was dressed in my lion outfit and I had accessories with it. I had a hat and a scarf and a sonic screwdriver. I was Dr. Mew. And I decided I was going to get a picture with Colin Baker, who played the Doctor in the original series. He was Sixth Doctor. And I'm standing in line in my whole outfit, very front of the line because I was VIP. I'm like, all right. And as I'm talking to the ticket girl, I'm like, hey, can you, when you scan me in, can you put it in my pocket? Because my paws, I'm just going to fit in there. All of a sudden, someone grabs my arm. And I'm thinking, oh no, what's going on? Is it 4chan? You're here to kill the furry? No. And I look up, and who has grabbed my arm? The Doctor. Not Colin Baker. Beverly Crusher from Star Trek The Next Generation. She has grabbed my arm and she started pulling me back behind the curtain going, oh, we're doing this. Oh, we're doing this. And I'm thinking to myself, what's going on? Is this a dream? Am I dreaming? Because I've had dreams that started that way when I was younger. I'm not going to finish that story. So she pulls me back in behind the curtain and she positions me in front of the camera and I have no idea what I'm doing. She's making me do whatever she wants me to do in front of the camera. So she positions me and I'm holding my sonic screwdriver and she goes the other way.
Never heard it called that before. Sorry, Pendas, keep going.
And then, so we're doing like this weird tango-esque pose looking at the camera and the camera goes flash. And then she goes, is it good? The camera guy goes, yep. And slowly she disengages from me. Kind of like the saucer section and the drive section of the Enterprise D. And she goes, make sure I get a copy of that, and takes off at warp speed. And I'm standing there and I don't know what to do. And I'm like, what just happened? Did I dream? Why am I backstage? And they're like, well, that ticket you have is for Colin, you should get back in line. I'm like, yes, I should. But what about that picture? And they're like, well, we'll take care of it. Just later, we'll take care of it. So I go back in line and I wait. I'm there. And they're like, okay, now it's time for Colin Baker. So we go in, get my picture with Colin. Oh, thank God. Get this over with. I've been hallucinating. I must have been delusional. I can't believe that couldn't possibly have happened. So I go back and get my picture with Colin. Yay. And I go back to get my picture, and they're like, oh, here you go, there's your photo. I'm like, oh, fantastic, I gotta get out of here. I gotta drink some water, I must be hallucinating. They're like, oh, you're the lion. I have another photo for you. I'm like, no, you don't. That's not true, that's impossible. And she brings out the other photo, I'm like, Beverly Crusher. And she's like, yep, I just need to see your ticket for that one. I'm like, let me tell you a story. That's how I got to meet spontaneously Beverly Crusher while waiting for Colin Baker.
Well, since we're talking about meeting celebrities, about, good God, 15 years, a damn long time ago, there was a guest of honor at a Florida convention, a man named Trace Beaulieu. Those of you who used to like to watch Mystery Science Theater 3000 may remember Trace was both Dr. Forrester in MST3K, and he was also the puppeteer of Crow T. Robot. So it was his puppeteering skills for which they were honoring him. And I saw Trace getting ready to get into an elevator. Now, I'm the guy who always preaches this to the new furries. Look, if there's a celebrity, don't drool on them, don't lose your saliva or whatever. And, just treat them like normal, talk to them like your new neighbor that you're meeting. They'll like that. So I went up and I basically went through the little mantra that I teach to the young furries. Good afternoon, Mr. Beaulieu. My name is Sam Conway. Very, very pleased to meet you. I'm quite an admirer. I want to thank you for the years of enjoyment that you gave to fans everywhere. You are a true artist. I would be very, very delighted if at some point this weekend you would let me buy you a drink. Perfect. That's what you do to a celebrity. And Trace said, I'm not doing anything now. I said, well, let's go. Now, that hotel had a big pool with a tiki bar outdoors. And I went down and I bought Trace a drink. And then he bought me a drink. And then we bought each other a drink. Then Tudor Auntie Griffin came by and bought us both drinks. And then we bought him 2 drinks. And then we started over again because we lost our place, so we had to start over. We got like 1,500 euros in very, very shortly. Now, we were having a good old time. I'm sitting there trying to keep myself under control because this is Trace for you. And at one point, all of us happened to look in the direction of the tiki bar. They had these hollowed out coconut shells that had been carved in the shape of monkey heads. And you could put a plastic glass in it and you could have your drink served with a straw out of the monkey head. And all of us just spontaneously looked and we said, "Monkey! Gotta have a monkey! Do a monkey with me!" So we went up and we had to get the monkeys and we stumbled back to the seats and sat down. We got Trace's zombie. If you know what a zombie is, not the shambling thing, but the drink. And I will never forget his face. You have to picture the Dr. Forrester voice. He took a sip and went, "Jet fuel." 2 had a martini, he loves it. I had an absolutely fantastic Columbia Valley Riesling 2001, I believe at the time, out of a monkey head. But a fursuiter walked by. Now this is the early days when we didn't have 50 billion fursuiters. There were probably like 50 fursuiters total in the fandom. And I believe it was Yippee Coyote, outstanding fursuit actor, one of the pioneers of the art, came walking by. And Trace was sitting there with the straw in his mouth and his monkey doing this. And he said, slurring a bit, and again the Dr. Forrester voice, it was great. "I just have one question. Who are you people?" Now I was going to give him the Uncle Kage spiel. You know, yes, ancient Egypt and animals, people live constantly. Trace is a fan. He's one of us. I don't need to, give this big long explanation. So from somewhere in the depths of my cold black soul, I found myself saying, after belching loudly, "Yeah, you're asking the wrong question, sir. You shouldn't be asking who we are. You should ask who we were. We were the fat kid. We were the brainy kid. We were the bookish kid. We were the kid with the big, thick glasses. We were the kid concerned about his sexual identity. We were the kid who couldn't throw a baseball. We were the kid who, for whatever reason, all the other kids said, 'You don't belong with us.' Now, human beings, as social animals, crave companionship. And denied companionship by our peers, we sought it out the next best place we could find it. Some of us looked to the stars, others to the far past of human history. We looked to the happy, smiling, accepting faces that we saw on the Saturday morning cartoons. Now, to answer your question, who are we? We are adults who never forgot our old friends. And Trace wiped in his eyes and said, "Oh my God, that was beautiful." I said, "I gotta write that down. Show my teacher, give me a piece of paper." And butter situation.
Butter, oh my God.
That's all you have to say to alkali to make them fall apart. Butter situation. But nobody learns about the butter situation until something goes into the lady's plastic box over there. We're just gonna sit and stare at you until something goes in the box.
I see.
Plastic box.
The butter situation.
Wait, the box has not yet been fed. Okay, behind you, miss, behind you. Turn around. Okay, butter situation. Is that a $1 bill? Okay, give him the first sentence, then stop. No, keep going. All right. Promise is a promise. Go ahead.
The butter situation. A lot of you notice, people come to me all the time, like, "Why aren't you wearing badges?" And that's because I actually feel bad. So many of you have given me badges over the years, little things to pin to my shirt, that I just can't do it. My jacket would fall apart with the weight of those things. Say it. It's going to come out in like 5 minutes anyway, so you might as well just say it.
No, it's past. I got it on my system.
But there's one that I've always put on the paper once I got it, and that is this pen. And all it does is a little plate with butter on it and says situation. Because there was an incident.
My watch just surrendered.
It was time to go.
That's what you paid for. Continue.
I'm giving him a nervous tick, I'm sorry. So, what happened was,
Give it another
we have meetings. When you run a convention, you and a decent amount of your board of directors meet with the hotel fairly regularly because they need to tell you how retarded you are, and you need to nod a lot. Well, we had been to one such meeting, and at the end of that meeting, the hotel liaison pulled out of his blazer a folded up, tri-folded piece of paper. And he slid this piece of paper across the table to our convention chairman and said, "You need to read that."
Now, as a convention chairman, I'll tell you, that causes the blood to run cold. Because you're looking at this piece of paper like it's a venomous snake.
I am going to try, now bear in mind it's been years since I've seen it, we still have it. I'm going to try to get this as close as physically possible to what it said. Dear Sir, Madam, or to whomever it may whom concern, all spelled incorrectly. I am here to talk to you about a situation, nay, a crisis, nay, a catastrophe that happened during the current event, which you know as MFF, open parentheses, Midwest Fur Fest, close parentheses, open parentheses, Midwest Furry Fandom Incorporated, close parentheses, more. That sentence was beautiful. It was so stupid that we almost couldn't continue, but I'll try. I attended the event and paid an exuberant amount of money, spelled incorrectly, to attend the sponsors brunch, hosted by your hotel, 7 periods. Your hotel has committed a sin. For when I arrived at the brunch, I went directly to the waffle station, expecting golden, delicious batter and a hot, serrated pan. Don't know what serrated meant in that thing. I kind of get what he meant, but no. After applying batter to said pan and waiting the appropriate amount of time, parenthesis, 1 turn necessary, close parenthesis, I moved slightly to the left. What did I discover upon moving slightly to the left? Not a small pellet of butter, not whipped butter, not buttermilk in butter patties. I discovered 100% pure maple Canadian brown syrup. What man in their right mind would put syrup on their waffles before butter? I ask you this in rage, anger, and a little bit of contention. 17 periods.
I need to stress, he's not making this up. This is the kind of shit we gotta deal with to make these things happen, but go on.
I do hope that in the near future this is rectified. I reiterate, waffles, butter, syrup, possibly fruit. Open parentheses, bananas work best with waffles, close parentheses. Written but not dictated, signed, and then the signature was at the bottom. And we could not stop laughing. But that's not enough, because we are furries. And as any of you who follow my Twitter account know, if a joke happens, you need to kill that joke by repeating it 4,000 times. And we thought, as furries, how could we make this worse? And we looked at our liaison and said, is the chef here? The chef was working, as chefs do. And we went into the basement of the Westin. We went down to the Sheridan, wherever the hell, I don't know where my con is.
The Weriton.
Hi, thank you. Yes.
The Weriton Inn.
The Weriton it is. And we went into the basement and approached the chef. We go, excuse me, sir. It's come to our attention that there was a situation that we need to talk to you about immediately. And this chef, covered in food, his smile stained, not prideful man, but he was professional. And he looked at us like, oh, of course, how can I help you? And we handed him, out of a sports coat, a tri-folded letter. And he opened it, and without missing a beat, he said, yes, the butter situation. And we died. That was all we needed. And he looked at us, and a wave of relief goes, oh, thank God, I thought you guys were assholes.
Incidentally, if by any far out chance the author of that letter is in this audience, you're a dick. Can I say dick?
If he were any more of a dick, we'd be sucking on his forehead.
We need more money in that box to keep Alkali from saying stuff like that, or to make Alkali. The box needs money. The box is hungry. The box wants your cash. The lovely lady is taking the box around. If I do not... what is that?
Yeah, put that in the box. Write your PIN number on it, which I'm assuming is 6969, and put it in the box.
That's my pin. Wait.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's the same combination as my luggage.
He beat me to it.
I'm going to change the combination on my luggage.
Pandez,
Yes.
you've been in the convention running business for a while.
Yes.
What memory have you tried to bury? I want to know.
Dig it up, Pandez. Dig it up.
We do this to each other.
What memory?
Remember that time? Oh, sorry.
While you're thinking, I will tell you why I look the way I do. Think of a story. I'm actually 24 years old. This is what running AFRICON will do to you. Especially when the Dorsai irregulars are your security. I am not screwing with you. I will sit down with my security chief and his, sergeants and everything. And we'll be, getting drunk and having a fun time. And they'll say, hey, Sergeant Steve, remember when that naked meth addict ran into the front of the Westin and we had to tackle him and he started urinating everywhere? I'm like, what? When the hell did that happen? Oh, that was, 2008? No, that was 2009. You didn't tell me about it! They said, we took care of it. See, but you didn't tell me! They said, because you would have reacted like that.
Once again, I just really want to apologize for that.
At least put clothes on next time, for Christ's sake.
I thought I was
Or
wearing
take
clothes.
pictures.
You don't want that.
Incidentally, Pandez,
Yes.
you have your story?
Yes.
Good, I want to trade places with you.
Okay.
Because from this chair, I'm staring right at Sailor Bubba out there, and I just want to...
Alkali, can you just lean forward for a second? Alkali, lean forward.
Whoa, no, this is not that kind of show.
This is how the bad memories start.
And the good ones.
Alrighty. So, for those of you who don't know, I've been with Indy FurCon, which happens in Indianapolis, Indiana, since its inception, but this is my first year as chairman. But something happened at our first hotel, which sadly no longer exists. They just demolished it recently, the very first IFC hotel. But an incident happened there while we were there. For those of you who don't know, Indy FurCon, Indianapolis, Indiana, is in August, which is very hot. It's usually like 90 plus degrees in the shade with air conditioning. And we had an event. An event. It was reported to us afterwards. We were like, oh, really? We had a suitor whose suit was consisted mostly of Lycra or some sort of like skin tight like material like that, which, they had other fursuit parts too, but that was their material. And they had apparently been dancing quite heavily at the dance and working up a sweat and everything, and decided they were going to go outside for a bit of a breeze and cool off. Well, what they did not realize is that a storm had just swept through and the temperature had dropped outside from the 90, 187 degrees that it was to about 68 degrees. Which is still room, but a lot cooler than they had anticipated. And then they walked outside and the sprinklers were going off. So they got wet and it was a lot cooler than they expected. And their temperature dropped from being overheated to well under what it should be because of the evaporation of the water and everything in about 60 seconds. And they passed out. And they were like, oh my God, there's someone passed out outside. We go grab them, and our medical team looked at them, And they said, yep, it's hypothermia. And we're like, what? Yes, this person, they went into a hypothermic shock. I'm like, it's Indianapolis. It's the middle of August.
And it's a fursuiter.
It's a fursuiter. And they're like, nope, your suitor went into hypothermic shock in Indianapolis, Indiana. So we had our very first, I believe, ambulance call for IFC was Hypothermia Kitty in August.
Yes.
On a day when the temperature high that day was 100 and question mark.
Yes, Indy FurCon holds the record. A day that was over 100 degrees, a fursuiter almost froze to death.
And if you read our incident reports, that's all we needed to write because every single one of us can retell that story. All you need to say is hypothermia kit, and we got it. Yeah, we know that one.
By the way, I mentioned the Dorsai. If you know any of them, Dorsai stories always start the same way. No shit, there I was. Now, I'm not going to mention other conventions, especially non-furry conventions, so I'm not going to tell you that it was MagFest. My security chief was security chief at MagFest. He showed me the log, I guess it was maybe 6 years ago now. The opening summary of the log read, despite the appearance of police in full riot gear, the convention was surprisingly quiet. That's the kind of stuff we have to deal with. That's why we look this way.
Believe it or not, there was a non-furry, non-nerd fur convention that myself and my business partner, Steve, ran security at, and they might have taken the cake. I mean, the incidents we have, you have to understand, it's like comparing apples to oranges. You have an incident at a furry con, it's like somebody was upstairs smoking pot with their butt. We don't know how they did it, and it's a miracle of science.
The mind boggles.
It really, and it's in one side of them, just out their nose. Like, that smells. I'm like, okay, you're high at least. But that's what we deal with here. We ran a...
Stop. Not another word till some of the people who just walked in give this lady some cash.
Give until they don't hurt you. I think that's what we've come up with the logo for this one.
I am going to give... Yes, put it in there. I'm going to give Axel a pass. Axel is the most generous person I've met this time. Probably the biggest spender for the charity this weekend. I love you. Thank you so much. I'll buy you a drink later because you have to pay for it. Okay, you may continue. The box has been fed.
So, we owned a campsite where we ran... Are you doing things?
I don't know.
You're a very funny man.
That was the easiest way to get a laugh. I just bent over. Like a bald spot or something? What?
It only works once, apparently.
Okay, continue.
We owned a campsite where we ran our LARP out of, but the one thing about running a LARP is you can't make enough money to own a campsite doing it.
By the way, everybody knows what a LARP is, right?
Live action role, but super nerd. So like, nerd, super nerd, nerd furry at the same time. I really am, I'm a renaissance man of dorkisms.
If you don't know what it is, watch the movie Role Models.
A nerd furry, is that a bird?
Yes, I'm a fur.
Okay.
Not to be confused with a turd, also does. Who here saw role models? Raise your hand. The weapons in there were supplied by Steve's other company, Ed Helen Armory. That's our LARP that supplied all the weapons for that movie. Yeah, that's our weirdness. So we decided to rent out our campsite to people who couldn't use it. And the first group that came through, the first group that said, we want to rent your campsite, we want to get all you guys to help us run this, we want to do everything physically possible because we think this is a brilliant idea, was a music group out of DeKalb. They wanted to run 3 shows in 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 4 hours of stage time each, and the rest of the time was going to be a big, yeah, we can do that. What do you need from us? We need somebody to take money, we need somebody to get the cars parked, and we need security. Not a problem. We do that kind of thing all the time. That's not a problem at all for us. So now I will tell you the story of that weekend. Strap yourselves in, because furries are tame compared to these psychopaths. Instinct number 1, Bill, who is in charge of the money. Now Bill, so you understand what he looks like, if I ate him in one bite, Bill is taller than me and 600 pounds of pure psychopath. That is Bill. A couple that he can only be described as homeless hipsters that were into punk music. They walked in and said, we've only got enough money for one ticket, but she can pay you the rest. And she lifted up her shirt and flashed him. To which he said, mine are bigger, and lifted up his shirt and flashed him. They left.
This is why Alkali wears the hat.
That was incident 1. Now, like I said, we run a LARP here, which means all of our LARPing equipment was on site in a trailer, locked. But you know what we found out people can do? Kick down trailer doors. So there was an all-out medieval battle happening on that side of the campsite. Security came in. We won. We fight for a living on the weekends. We know those weapons don't hurt too much. Don't swing them at our back. But we did notice what was missing were the bolt cutters. The bolt cutters were missing from NPC camp where we stored all the weapons. That worried us. So we kind of quietly spread around security. Guys, the bolt cutters are missing. So we started going around and checking the campsite. We checked the alternate bathrooms. Oh, the lock had been cut. And every paper towel and roll of toilet paper was gone. Every one.
Is anybody else getting turned on by this story?
Drink your wine. It's a top hat. So, really guys, that was not worth a laugh. That was a groan at the most.
Continue.
Every roll of toilet paper, every paper towel gone. And that's when Steve realized, oh shit, we gotta go check the fireworks shed. You see, I had a lot of free time at one point, so I decided to have a lot of weird hobbies, and one of them was becoming a licensed pyrotechnic. And what we do at Nero, once a year, we have the pyro event, where I blow off, I can't tell you how much fireworks, but we always have extra, and they go into the shed. The shed was empty. So somewhere on our campsite was probably $1 grand worth of not bottle rockets, not Roman candles, mortar shells, aerial bombs, Venus flights, some decent stuff that we like to shoot at each other because we're a little crazy. We can't worry about that right now because we have another incident. You see, when you go to a fur con and you get to the door side coming up to you and saying, yes, we had somebody smoking a joint, you go, oh no, we should stop them.
Yes, this must not occur at Convention X.
At ours, it was more along the lines of only 8 people are currently on acid whom are talking to you currently, so we're fine. Oh, we watched the golf cart go whizzing past us, no one on it. Now that is where the story truly begins, because that led to these events. The golf cart goes rolling across the field. We had 4 football fields connected. That's where we did a lot of our battles. That's also where we were doing the band. They built a stage, and there was a runaway golf cart. It was just going. That's happening now. Well, I'm not going to run, so Steve ran, and Steve went running after the golf cart. While he was running after the golf cart, over here we heard an explosion. I have to deal with that. I'm going to go that way. Steve, when you get the golf cart, okay. And I went that way. They broke into the boathouse and stole a raft. My question to them is, they had bolt cutters. Why did they try to blow up the door? They used the bolt cutters, but the door was scorched. At this point, we decided never to have another band back on our campsite. It was a good decision. Well, we had a little bit of a problem when we got the golf cart, because somebody was using the golf cart to transport drugs. Now, I don't mean hardcore drugs, the heroin and all that stuff, we already had that. In the golf cart was, do you remember when your mom made lasagna? and she had a Tupperware container like this. It was filled with shrooms. A full Tupperware container. Now, when we sold them, we made like $6,000, $7,000. So it was a lot of shrooms. Don't do drugs.
Nobody's filming this.
Sorry. Sorry.
I don't know this man. I met him this morning.
Pandas, could you say it properly?
Sorry.
Well, we finally found, that's way too long a story, but we found out who was trying to sell them. It was a pair of 16-year-olds, one of which who had got his license that week. They had borrowed the car to come out here. They had brought the shrooms to sell them. They had taken the cart because they were tired of walking and seeing things, and then they stepped out of the cart and let it go into the distance, making sure they weren't caught, but they forgot their shrooms. Long story short, we caught them because they asked us if we had found their shrooms. It's night now. We walked them over to their car. Now, we're not here to cause trouble. These are two 16-year-olds. I don't know if you know, I mean, if we report that ruins their lives. That's not what we want. So we brought them to their car. We took their car keys and said, now listen to me very carefully. We are going to send a security guard over here once an hour. If you two stay in this car, if you do not leave this car, and tomorrow morning you leave after getting your keys from us, we're not going to talk about this anymore. And Steve looked at them, and we really mean it. And that's when the lake exploded. The toilet paper and paper towels they stole were to soak with gasoline, which they lined to the bottom of the raft, put all my fireworks on, floated it out to the middle of the lake, and ran one of my cords, licked the cord, ran like hell, and blew up the lake. We don't run music events anymore. And an unrelated note, we no longer own that campsite. But every time we go there, we look at a tree. Because it's a very large tree. I cannot put my arms around it. And embedded in that tree is a little piece of the raft that we call Bill. Because that raft was a trooper. It was great.
Board things as a result of the chairman attacking an attendee. In self-defense, it was really the attendee attacking the chairman. But the entire rest of the convention, every single person went up to Alkali and went, "You're back from the hospital?" They thought the ambulance was for him the entire weekend.
Now, bear in mind, there's an unwritten rule in furry, especially when you run it. If an incident happens, you have a limitation of 2 years. 2 years later, we can tell it on convention horror stories, if it's tame enough, and he's tamed that story down enough, that was acceptable. But that also meant that I couldn't tell anyone what actually happened, so I had to go, yeah. Almost died. My last thoughts were of you. I got laid 17 times that night. I got tired and I'm old.
So the EMS were charging you with something other than paddles, is that what you're saying? Clear! Yeah!
Incidentally, a gentleman standing at the door, is the bar open? Is the bartender back there?
5 o'clock, I think.
Pandas, give me your glass.
Look what he did! He's sharing his wine!
That's not how volume works.
I'm a chemist, shut up.
That's what worries me.
You guys put this stuff in your faces, now I'm gonna tell a story. It's actually the only story I was ready to tell, and then I realized it's only like a 10-minute story, so I'm like, oh, I'm screwed. So I'm gonna tell a story, you guys feed your faces with food, and don't touch this, it's mine. Hi, I'm Uncle Kage. I'm old. I'm gonna stand up because this chair is not very comfortable. I don't know why. Oh, there's a spike on it. That's what. Okay. Anyway, well, that feels a lot better. Anyway,
Surprisingly firm.
the chair.
Chair is surprisingly. There's something.
Like I said, at my age, you take it where you can get it, okay?
You know,
Continue never washing this hand.
You
there
never
are
did
3
before.
con chairs on this stage, so saying the chair is surprisingly firm has a triple meaning in this case.
Basically, I tell stories. That's what happens. I get up here, I drink stuff, and I make noises, and people seem to like it. Now, I've invited these gentlemen to join me because I like performing with them. But I do want to tell you this story because I've had an awful lot to drink. Now, y'all know, many of you who have seen, okay, who have never seen me perform on stage before? Oh, wow. Let me tell you a story. That's usually how it starts out. I travel a lot. As a matter of fact, I travel very, very frequently, primarily to conventions like this. Little secret for you. If you always travel the same airline, they will give you like frequent flyer miles. I go to enough furry conventions and get invited to enough furry conventions because of the generosity of all of you. I am on United Airlines the most amazing, super colossal, silver, gold, chairman, platinum, suck my dick level member that there is. So I've got that SMD card that I can flash. Gets me into the club. The United Airlines club, you know, that's got like the iron gates in front of it and the armed guard, you know, they don't pass. Yeah, I have to splash the SMD card, it needs to have a sign, I go into the club. I was in Seattle, and I was going to take a flight from Seattle to, with a connector to Raleigh, Durham, my home, because I was out there visiting. It was a 7 a.m. flight. I was going to get back to Raleigh at about 10 p.m. with a connection, I think, in Washington, D.C. Everything is fine. Now, I do not mean to put down United Airlines when I say they suck the big donkey weenie. I mean that with as much malice. That came out. That wasn't the word I was thinking, but that just kind of came out. Let me move on. Anyway, United Airlines kind of has occasionally failed me. But that's not the point of this story. Actually, yes, it is. I was going to take this flight, and I walked up to the flight, and okay, those of you who are my age remembers this happening. Those of you who are younger might remember this from your history classes of the History Channel. Remember that famous footage of the last helicopter leaving Saigon? That's what the gate looked like. United had not just overbooked the flight, they overbooked it by more than 20 seats. And they said, "We are calling for volunteers." And I thought, well, I have some extra time. I wonder what they're offering. Because if you volunteer to give up your seat, they'll give you a little, you know, you scratch my back, I'll suck your dick here. That's kind of fun. I have a card. So I went up and I said, "I beg your pardon, madam, I might be interested in volunteering." And she said, "We'll give you a $600 voucher." I said, "Oh, you have my attention." "What do I have to do to get the $600 voucher?" And she said, "Well, we'll put you on the list. If we need your seat, we will give you a $600 voucher and tappity, tappity, tappity. There's a Delta flight that leaves at noon, gets into Raleigh at 10. Well, that's not much later than I would be getting in. "That's for me. Give it to me." She said, "Well, we don't know if we need your seat. Some people might not show up. Some people cancel at the last minute. So if we need your seat, you'll get all that." So I said, "Put me on your list, madam, I'm not afraid." So they put me on the list. Now I was kind of hovering because I'm thinking, hey, $600 voucher? That's like, oh, hello. I wanted that $600 voucher. I was like jonesing for that. So I was like hanging around the desk and I kept saying, "Lady, now, do I get it now? Do I get it now?" And she was getting a little annoyed because she's got 19 people there screaming and yelling, you know, "I have passport, you let me on the helicopter." And actually it sounded like that, really. Now, there was this nice little lady, I saw her passport, she was from Burma. She was a tiny little old lady and a little frail, and she was toddling up I suspected maybe she didn't understand the announcements because she had her passport. She kind of stood up and she was behind me, and I let her go. And she went up, and this very large gentleman pushed his way in front of her and started saying, I have a confirmed ticket here. Why don't I have a seat assignment? Why are you people not giving me my seat? I'm an important guy, and I have to be in Madison by whatever. Now, even though it was morning, that hadn't stopped me. So I was feeling brave. Not only that, but I am the son of a Southern gentleman. And braver or not, we don't stand for that. And I said, excuse me, sir, you just stepped in front of a lady. And he said, that's okay, and went back on berating the person up here. And I thought, okay, to what extent do I want to get into this? And I thought, okay. So I went to the nice lady from Burma, and I said, ma'am, here's I will make sure they talk to you next. You sit here. Okay. She sat down. I didn't even know she understood. She never said a word, but I sat her down. And I kind of stood next to the guy and I gave him my best glower. I'm like spending my glower on him, and like, but it didn't work. He didn't look at me. So he sat down, and I motioned him, and I said to the gate agent, listen, I'm volunteering to give up my seat, but I don't want him to get it, because he's an asshole. Is there a way I can arrange that to make sure he doesn't get my seat? And the lady said, I'll try, sir, I'll try. Could you please sit down? The poor lady was very frazzled. Please, I'll do my best. I didn't, okay. Take care of the nice lady from Burma, okay? And then I stood back and I'm waiting, and they're still frantically trying to get people onto this flight. And then this guy goes back up, and he's leaning over, and he's doing this, talking lady, and why does it say confirmed passenger? You people get in. And I'm standing over his shoulder saying, and he turned around and I went, and I saw the lady going, that was cute. So I kind of stood back, and finally they announced boarding. And they're boarding people, they're calling people up, and they called a name. I'm going to use the name Malister because it comes to mind. That's the name I'll use for the story, all right? Lady said, passenger Malister, please come up. And I saw him get up, and he comes over, and she slid the boarding pass to him, and I looked, and it was my seat. And she gave it to him. And she said, and he went up, and he beat the thing in, and he's like growling and telling you. And as he walked down the jetway, I said, have a nice flight, Mr. Malister, you self-important dickweed. He stopped and turned around the gate and said, sir, you're going to have to board now. So the lady gave me my $600 voucher. I'm like, ooh. This is a $600 voucher. I put it right in here in the suit pocket. That's going to stay safe. $600, that's like, half of a first class ticket. That's amazing. I got me $600. And I'm going to still get to Raleigh tonight. Okay. So I turned around, I started walking away, and there was a young man, handsome young gentleman, kind of looking. And I stopped, I said, oh, weren't you able to get on, son? And he said, I don't know what I'm going to do. He said, I'm traveling on orders. I need to be at Fort Bragg tomorrow. I said, you're a soldier? He said, yes, I am. He said, if I don't get to Fort Bragg tomorrow, yeah, they don't take kindly to soldiers showing up late for work. So I said, maybe let me get the SMD card out. And I turned around, and the gate agent's podium looked like a gazelle being savaged by hyenas. And I said, I turned and I saw United Club. I said, come with me. So I dragged him up to the United Club, went up to the United Club, flashed my SMD card, and I said, look, this young man's a soldier. We need to get him to North Carolina like tomorrow morning by 9 o'clock. Do whatever you gotta do, okay? So the lady starts tapping. Okay, Phoenix? No, that's full. No, Chicago? No, that's full. This is full, this is full. She even tried to send him through Ottawa, and that was full. So I was kind of pacing back and forth thinking, okay, if I'm late for work, my boss just frowns at me. If this guy's late for work, he spends an unknown amount of time in jail. I said, can I give him my seat? And the lady said, it doesn't work that way. We would have to cancel your ticket and then quickly rebook his before somebody else got it. And if somebody else got it, you'd both be stuck. So I said, okay, keep trying. And I'm pacing back and forth. I'm feeling awful. This guy's starting to look like he's just going to break down. And I was leaning against the counter, and there was another gate agent. Okay, if there is a person, an airline employee, I'm going to borrow Alkali's hat. Just for a moment. It almost fits. There was a lady who was maybe 63, 64. Now, young fellas, especially you, if there is a lady about 63, and you, if you are talking to a lady about 63 or 64 in an airline, just do this. Ma'am? And she grabbed the computer, she went, tappity. And she said, there's nothing. The only chance he might have is to buy a ticket on Southwest Airlines. Because they don't play the game of, oh, we are overbooked, we use your airline. You might be able to buy a last-minute ticket on Southwest. So I told the young man, nice young gentleman from Egypt, his name is Lutfi. And I said, you stay here, keep working with this lady. I'm going to go in, plug in my computer onto the amazing free internet, and I am going to see if I can find a Southwest flight for you. I went in and I did. 1 seat left on a Southwest flight going through Denver, connecting to Raleigh, getting in at midnight. And I ran out and I said, ew. This seat is $571. You got that kind of money, son? And he looked crestfallen. And he said, let me call a friend. Maybe I can borrow some money. And he went off in the corner with his cell phone, and I was pacing back and forth. Because we're running out of time. And I went and I saw him kind of crestfallen. I said, did you get anyone? He said, no, I can't reach anyone. And I thought, okay. I'm still $29 up on the deal. So I went to the gate agent and said, are you guys able to buy a Southwest ticket? They said, yeah. I said, do it. Here's my credit card. So I bought him the ticket. And he was stunned. And I said, let's just go inside and have some coffee, all right? I want to get you to Fort Bragg on time. Went in and had some coffee, and then I realized, hey, wait a minute, I still have to go to the Delta counter and get my ticket. So I said to him, you stay here, I'm going to get my ticket. I don't know if you've ever been to Seattle Airport, but the United gates are here. The Delta gates are in San Diego. I had to catch another flight to get to the other gates. 3 days later, anyway, I got to those gates. And I went to the lady and said, they gave me this thing, and she went tappity, tappity, oh, you are first class the whole way. Yeah. Sometimes karma works, bitches. I got first class tickets, okay, great, wonderful. So I was walking back, I look at my first class tickets, departs 10:30 p.m. Gets in at 9 a.m. Whoa, wait a minute, wait a minute. I went back to the Delta counter and said, this wasn't the deal. What's going on? And she said, well, they're having storms in Raleigh, and that flight was canceled. I thought, uh-oh, lucky. And I went running back, catching another flight, back to the United Gates. I ran to the club, and here's poor Lucky on the phone, saying, you know, how am I going to do this? And I said, who are you talking to? He said, I'm talking to Southwest. They canceled my flight. I said, give me that phone. I said, hi. What's going on? And they said, well, his flight is canceled to Raleigh. And I said, I need to get him to Raleigh tonight. And the lady said, there's nothing else. Raleigh is shut down. The storm has shut everything down in Raleigh. We cannot get him there tonight. I said, all right, what about Charlotte? She said, no. I said, okay. What about Greensboro? She said, no. I said, all right. Washington, D.C., Reagan. She said, yes, we have a flight to Reagan. I said, give me that flight. And she said, you'll have to pay the fare difference. I said, how much is that flight? She said, $592. I'm still $8 up on the deal. So I said, give me. That's Washington. We got a 5-hour difference between Washington and Raleigh. And Lockley was saying, what am I going to do? I said, listen, watch and learn. And I went, tappity, 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 tappity. I said, I have a corporate account with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. You're going to rent a car, you're going to drive from Washington, D.C. down to Fort Bragg, and you're going to get to your station on time. If anybody asks, you're the chairman of Anthrocon and you're a furry. Don't ask questions, just say them, okay? I said, but we got to get you to the gate because that new flight from Southwest, that's leaving now. We got to get you down there. So we gathered up the stuff, and I shook his hand at the front. And he was still looking very shell-shocked, and he said, how am I going to be able to repay you? I said, that's easy. Serve your country well and come back in one piece. We'll call it square. That was 3 months ago. We still email back and forth. I'm trying to get him to go to Africa. That'd be fun. I don't know. We'll see how many medals he gets. By the way, fair is fair. Since I tried to get Pandas to embarrass Alkali, you've known Pandas a long time. What's the last thing he would want you to talk about right now? But before you answer that question, the box is hungry. You know what to do. There's no more comedy until that box gets fed.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to stand for one person putting a $1 bill in this time.
Kage said the box is hungry.
The box is... Oh, I said that, didn't I? You did. I didn't think about that.
I did.
Yeah, you did. Because you're alkaline.
It's just a trap.
Do we have enough for... Somebody let me know how much we have. You know?
Yes, okay, I see.
It's getting pretty full. It's getting pretty full.
I see money going in. All right. So, he mentioned this earlier. Who here has had the pleasure, the privilege, and the sadistic honor of going to the MST3K panel? Good. MST3K is Mystery Science Theater 3000, and he was...
Interrupt you for a second?
Absolutely.
Pardon me, what's the lady's name again? I forget. Lisa. Lisa, there's a bunch of people over there ain't said nothing. Continue, carry on, but don't forget them. Yeah, okay, go on.
Now, the point of this panel, we actually created this panel together. We thought, wouldn't it be a great idea to do Mystery Science Theater at a convention? We could throw a movie up there, not tell anyone what it is, we'll sit up there, we'll make fun of the movie, and we'll have some cocktails. We're kind of funny some of the time. Maybe people will show up. We filled a room and very quickly realized we didn't need to be funny because these assholes wouldn't shut up. Which was fine by us. What we did have was a bottle of Rumplemints for me, a handle of Malibu rum for him,
Sorry, go.
and random bottles of alcohol all over the table. And we thought, why do we need to be funny? You know what would be great here? An old-fashioned drinking game. And I turned my hat to the way it is now and said, everyone, if you throw $1 in the hat, we'll take a drink. I'm drinking this, he's drinking this, he's drinking this, he's drinking this. If you throw $5 in the hat, you can make a rule. You can make a rule for a drinking game for the movie we are about to show. For $20, this gentleman has seen the movie. You can make a nasty rule as long as he approves it. And some jackass said, what about every time there's a center screen wipe, take a drink? Center screen wipe? Who cares? The movie was Battleship Earth. Battlefield Earth, sorry.
We know what he meant. That's an L. Ron Hubbard story.
That is an L. Ron Hubbard, in the first line of his Bible, said, let there be center screen wipes. At one point, there was a flashback in a flashback that had 3 center screen wipes within 30 seconds.
That's a chug.
Now, I drink a lot. I'm also, I know, shocking. I'm 6'8", and I eat a lot. So Rumplemints is water. I'm fine, tipsy. I'm probably drunk, but I'm fine. You know what Canada can't do that well? Hold their liquor, apparently. Because the movie ended. And I turned to the audience, and I believe I said, Sir! 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 And I sat down, but you know what? I knew I'd make it up to the room. That's when we looked over to Pandez, who made eye contact with me and laughed for 4 months. My eyes are very funny. So we got everyone out of the room. There's one thing you really learn quickly running conventions. If there's an incident, the chance of an incident, you get everyone out of the room. So there was board members, 1 or 2 staff members, and a close friend of ours. That was it. We got everyone out of the room. We looked over at Panda and said, we should get you to your room. He said, wait a minute, I'm sorry, wait a minute. And he looked down to the table where all the booze was. Table. Flat surface. He held our booze. He held them up. And I don't think that we appreciate tear. Legitimate tear. We don't appreciate this table. And he started to dry hump the table. We grabbed him. Okay, it's time to go to bed. Let's go to bed. And he goes, wait a minute. I'm sorry. And he grabbed the empty bottle of Malibu rum. Plastic bottle! Plastics in general. You hold our liquids. You made us a country. And he made out with the bottle for about 30 seconds before we got it away with him. So we threw out the bottle. He cried a little bit at that. That was awkward. And we got him to the door of the room. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Door! And he put his hand flat on the door and caressed it in a perfect circular pattern. Wax on, wax off. Door. Faux wooden door. You keep, and I'm not going to say the guy's name, but we all know who I'm talking about, out of the room. If we close you, do you not slam? If we lock you, do you not keep us safe? I love you, I will give you a knob job, and we stopped it.
It's the fact that Pandez is not trying to deny any of this.
So we got him to the elevator, where he is screaming at the hallway, "Carpeting! This isn't a gay thing, this isn't a straight thing, I love carpet! Shag! Fomonya!" We didn't even know what he was talking about, he was making up carpet. Okay, we get into the elevator, he hit every button. 7, I have not seen anyone push you all weekend. He is crying. 7 is an underutilized floor, we should go there. And he planned a vacation to the 7th floor in the time it took us to get from 2 to 4. The elevator ding, ding, and we are done with this at this point. I have sobered up. We get him out of the elevator when he tells us that that ding was not a smug ding, was not a satisfied ding, it was just a ding. Because sometimes a ding is what you need. And we got him into the hallway, and he thanked the carpet again, but we've already been through that. And finally, the scariest moment, as he puts his hand on the fire alarm. And he looked at all of us and said, "Fairies, you're so accepting and so gullible," and walked into his room. Now he was drunk, but that is a testament to Pandez, because for one shining moment, the comedy in the back of his booed-rattled brain said, "If you look at them with a straight face, put your hand on that fire alarm, and smile and walk into your room, Alkali will pee himself."
Can I ask you a favor, Uncle Adam?
Yes.
The next time this happens, you got one of these.
I was drunk too. The worst part is I'm fairly certain I was egging him on, like, "Hey, Ben, this one with the carpet." Carpet? Oh! I'll munch that every day.
Every person that we ran into, I thanked them for supporting IFC. Thank you for coming out. There were like random people from another event that was happening there. No badges. They were all in like suits and ties. "Thank you for supporting furry convention." What the hell are you?
People who weren't even there.
Like,
It was
you
awesome.
are one of my favorite furries. Don't tell me. Need more lemon pledge.
Oh, no. You do not make fun of hotel employees, especially hotel housekeepers, in my presence.
They are the most hardworking people and underpaid people.
If you know what they gotta go through.
And we do, as
Kage.
people who run conventions.
Well, hold on, I want to know, Kage, what do they go through?
You might notice, actually you probably don't know, at Anthrocon, every year, I host a donut and coffee party for the housekeeping staff before and after the convention. Before the convention, since Pandez is not there, I say, before we start, I'm going to say, "I'm sorry." After the convention, I say, "Give me room numbers and names." And they do. Don't let them do that. If it's your room, you don't want to know. Trust me, you don't want to know. But an Anthrocon housekeeper, these are hard. If you have not tipped your housekeeper, by the way, put at least $1 per person on the bed, and a little sign says housekeeper. Don't just put money around. They can't just grab money lying around. That's thievery. But make a little sign that says housekeeper. Tip your housekeeper. Don't wait till the end. It might be a different housekeeper. Tip them every night. These people are underpaid. They deserve it. If you knew what they went through, I know what they go through. This one housekeeper, we told them, if there is anything that is giving you a problem, you just call down to this number that goes to our operations office. Tell them what the problem is. They will take care of it. If they can't take care of it, they'll call me. And all the Weston staff know that that's the kiss of death. Yeah, if you call Uncle Kage, there's a phrase in furry fandom that basically goes, you don't fuck with Uncle Kage. Don't try to find out why. Because I believe in massive retaliation. Anyway, that's a side note.
I'm a con chairman now because once I left a dirty napkin on the bed. Don't fuck with Uncle Kage.
This housekeeper went into a room where a well-known fursuit maker had been making fursuits. Now, those of you who make fursuits know that it generates a significant amount of excess material.
It explodes.
This lady called up and she said to our operations office, and they recorded this in the log, could you come up to this room? It looks like a cat exploded. They took pictures. It did. So, the owner of that room, it was very, very polite. The owner of that room, when they got back to the room, found a little note that said, the chairman wants to talk to you. I need to tell them about the fire alarm.
Number 1 through 40, which one? Which convention?
Last year. Last year at Anthrocon. And it might have been one of you. I'm looking for anybody who looks guilty.
You can't prove anything!
That was adorable. You're under arrest.
Our guest of honor, Lee Tokar, delightful man, came and found me and he said, let's go across the street and have a drink. And I'm like, I don't want to drink. That's the first sign. Lee actually insisted that he take me over and get me a drink. As he explained, he said, you look like you need one. So he took me across the street to a little place called Tenpenny, and he bought me a drink. And I took the glass, and I was going to tell him my troubles, and I was going to sip my drink when I heard a siren. And a ladder truck pulled up in front of my hotel, the Westin. And I looked mournfully at Lee, and I just put the drink down. I said, excuse me. As firefighters were going into the hotel in their bunker gear, I was going with them saying, who the fuck set my hotel on fire? Was it you? They tell me that I was pacing back and forth like a caged tiger. I don't remember. I was doing this. And actually, my staff will tell me that the tighter the pace, the angrier I am, and the less you want to talk to me. If I'm doing this on my cell phone, it's not the time to ask me for a photo. The firefighters came out. By the way, the alarm had gone off. That means all the elevators go to the ground floor. And the firefighters explained to me a smoke detector was activated on the 9th floor. I went up to the 9th floor. And a witness said to me, we have a rule. We don't allow electronic cigarettes at Anthrocon. We don't allow them. We ask people not to use them. There was a gentleman using one in the elevator lobby, and somebody said, hey, you're not supposed to have that, and the asshole went right under the particle sensor. That was the smoke alarm. And I got up there, and I said to the witness, what did he look like? And the witness said, it was a heavy-set guy with a beard. Okay, that rules out 5%. Do you know who it was? And he said, I'm sorry, I don't. I said, go. And he went. Now, it's said that a samurai's sword, once drawn, must taste blood. That's how I felt. I want him, where is he? And I could not get my hands on him. So I went looking for somebody I could get my hands on. And I started prowling the halls, looking. And one of my logistics guys went with me. And he was following me. And I'm going from room to room. I hear a loud party. And inside I heard, there's somebody knocking on the fucking door. Oh shit, it's Kage. And the man opened the door and looked around and I said, he said, can you close the door? And my logistics guy said, is that enough? I said, no. That's a start. I need more. I need more. Let's go to the 12th floor. Went up the stairs to the 12th floor. Nothing on 12. Let's go up to the 14th. That's superstitious. No 13th floor. Let's go up to the 14th floor. Nothing. A door sign held on with duct tape. The sword was satisfied. Don't fuck with Uncle Kage.
You know, there's something you guys need to understand. I actually know the party that he shut down for that.
What?
Yeah, I do. I wasn't there. They described the incident to me after I had heard this story. They said, have you ever seen Lord of the Rings? Well, yeah. But when we looked through the people on the door and saw Kage looking in, it was the Eye of Saruman with a distorted face behind it and rage behind that. So
Flames!
flames of hatred. Come on, listen.
It's very difficult to run a convention. Any of us will tell you. It takes a lot out of you. There are a lot of problems that happen on their own. If you contribute to them, we're going to eviscerate you. Because that will satisfy us. Anybody here been to Anthropocon?
Yeah!
Do you know the Allegheny River behind the convention center?
Oh, it's Sooner Fell.
Every year it gets a little less shallow.
May I tell the story of the thunderstorm at your convention?
Please.
Was anyone there for the box? Every time he yells that, they oh God, Kage went straight. All right.
Maybe I never will. This lady's gonna make her rounds. Remember, this is for the kitties we do this. But continue, Alkaline, please. But if you don't see anything going in the box, shut up.
I will. Who was at Anthrocon the year the 4th of July fireworks were rained out? Good. So some of you know. They have a porch, a patio even, what would you call it? Just a balcony, a major balcony, the size of the convention center.
It's called the roof.
Okay, yeah, fine, it's the roof. So a bunch of psychopaths are standing on the roof of a convention center, and we're waiting for the fireworks to start. And the first firework that went off must have been a doozy because the skies opened up and there was thunder. And hotel security came running out onto the roof. The term herding cats is too much of a downplay on that situation. Hotel security came out, they pushed furries this way, and furries went, oh look, like in football, there's a hole, and they went back that way. And
They were
hotel
slowing
security-
around the security people.
It was the crashing waves of an ocean not happening.
With lightning landing closer and closer.
Correct. Now, I was out there with a few friends. We started making our way back, and I've been working with Rennie, the head of the door side for Renegade, for 3 or 4 years now. He's an amazing gentleman, some amazing stories. And he knows that I have one advantage over a few people, and that's my voice. I don't need a microphone, the top hat as well. And he grabbed me and said, I need your help. Okay? And we walked to the other side of the roof. And he looked at me, dead serious, he said, I need you to yell this exact line. You shall not pass.
Demonstrate.
Furries! You shall not pass! Now luckily that's when the thunder went off.
Right there.
Now, I don't tell you that story because I was amused. I was amused because they did start moving. And I don't tell that story because they moved because of my voice. I don't tell that story because they moved because of the door side, and they didn't. I tell that story because of the look of a hotel security staring at the 4 or 5 Dorsai and me with our arms out clotheslining fursuiters going, move. And finally, one of the fursuiters gave me a staff. This is happening. So Rennie, Angel, myself, Mama-san, and behind us, what we later found out was the liaison for the convention center. A wonderful
Kelly.
Kelly, that was her name, walking behind us going, they're insane. They're all insane. And you've tamed the crazy. Teach us your ways, O wizard. And I turned around with a pipe in hand, and hit my head on the chandelier.
By the way, when we talk about Renegade, some of you may have seen him. He's a tiny little man, like 5 foot nothing, very round, big white Santa Claus beard, twinkle in his eye, little Cajun accent, Rene Gobin. He looks like this is what Santa does in his time off. He's my security chief.
Hates names and kicks ass.
United States Army Airborne Ranger, 3 tours of duty in Vietnam. You don't mess with my security. We're running out of time. I want to hear from Pandez. He's been awfully Canadian and quiet. I want you to say something that's going to completely floor these people.
Completely floor them?
Yes. Say something in Canadian.
See, Tim Hortons country style poutine.
That didn't floor them, Pandez. You have to do better.
My fellow Canadian in the audience is just dying hysterically right now.
Yes, thank you, lone Canadian.
He's like, you should not give me wine and put me on stage. I'm much better wineless.
Damn you!
I'm trying to think of some. Do I have a Canadian story?
We could sing that song about the War of 1812. We know it.
It's the War of 1812 and we know it, but I feel fine. What?
You know the song about the War of 1812 that the Canadians sing?
No.
I'll skip the build-up, but it goes basically, they say, in 1812, Madison was mad. He thought that he was tough. So we went down to Washington and burned down all his stuff in the White House. Burn, 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 and we're the ones that did it. Burn, 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 and the Americans ran and cried. It burned, 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 and things were very historical. And the Americans ran and cried like a bunch of little babies. Wah, 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 in the War of 1812. And that's the Canadian National Anthem, ladies and gentlemen.
But it's
How many people did not learn that Canada kicked our asses in 1812 and pretty much won the freaking war? They don't teach you that, do they? They burned Washington, D.C. to a cinder. And then they went home and they said,
sorry.
you notice how Americans still say the War of 1812 was a tie? No, they gave us Michigan.
I don't care, we got it.
Michigan, America's
Okay,
last
it
line of
was
defense
like
against
a
Canada.
tug of war. Michigan, oh, tug of war, and the Canadians went, ah! You got it. We're like, yeah, we won. Great.
Yeah, we won Detroit. Oh.
Have you been in that lake? It's disgusting.
Where
Well,
are
I
you
grew up in
from?
the UPA.
Where are you from? You said a boot.
Sorry.
Are you sure you're not Canadian?
Are you sure you don't have a little Canadian in you? Would you like it?
Okay, here's the test. Oh, look, I will put some Aunt Jemima artificial syrup on my pancakes.
Don't.
He's not Canadian.
Did I ever tell you the first shot I made for this gentleman? I told him I was making him a true Canadian shot, and I gave him a description of it, and he drank it, and he goes, that was maple syrup, wasn't it? He asked for 3 more.
All right, gentlemen, we're getting very, very low on time. This is your last opportunity to see that that box is full. Even though this is not my con, I intend to honor the schedule of this convention. About 4 minutes, actually.
4 minutes. I'll tell you what. If you want to hear the story, we said there's a 2-year mark. A 2-year mark on convention horror stories. Who here has heard the Drag It Show podcast? Who here listens to my podcast? There is a story that we tell that I fib about. We say that we came up with it, but there was an incident at my convention. There was a dirty incident. Now guys, this is, the start of the story is bad. It is bad, but keep with me through the story and I promise you a good thing. Let's get some money into that box and I will tell you the incident. And guys, bear with me, do not judge, of the baby divorce scat party. Bear with it. It'll take 4 minutes. Yeah, run. Oh, yeah, all of a sudden you're paying for my convention.
Yeah, keep talking. We got a bunch of them. Keep talking,
All right,
don't mind us.
All right, so we had an incident. Now, if any of you have listened to my podcast, if any of you listen to the shit that I say, there are a few things that I will not abide by, and one of those things is somebody looking at you going, crinkle, crinkle. No. Also, all the other stuff I mentioned at the beginning of the story. And one day, we found on our board an advertisement for a baby divorce scat party in room blank. They were advertising for this party. Now, my director of programming found this and knew that I would be angry, so he pulled it off the board and he put it in his pocket. Well, that would have been the end of it, except that hotel cleaning staff came to me the next day. Now, this was the incident report for the night, and like I said, bear with me. Nemi, my director of programming, told me what it was on the board, and I read the incident report that said the mattresses were destroyed, the room was torn apart, and that the people who were in there left. And I thought the worst, the same that every one of you are thinking out there right now, until I found somebody who went to the baby divorce scat party. And I had to walk away from them, as you will understand in just a moment. When they knocked on the door opened, they grabbed them, told them to put on the diaper, threw them between 2 mattresses, put some pudding in there, yelled nom 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 nom, hit them with the 2 mattresses and put them back in the hole. And said, "Your shit," and closed the door. We had a baby vor scat party at our hotel, and I have never stopped laughing at it to this day. Because they took a fur, made him go between two mattresses, hit him with the mattresses, threw pudding at him, and put him back into the hallway. And if you're dumb enough to go to a baby vor scat party, even out of curiosity, you deserve to be thrown between two mattresses, hit with pudding, and put back into the hallway. And the best part of this story, the icing on the cake, is the one gentleman that fell for it, who did fall for it. He even admitted, like, I was too curious, I had to go. And I've known him long enough, that is true. It's like, no, I have to see this. This is a train wreck that I need to be a part of. When he re-entered the hallway, he went, that was 100% worth it, and went back to his room, took a shower, and went, I hadn't experienced it.
What a way to end an evening. We are just about, as a matter of fact, we are out of time. That doesn't mean you cannot keep contributing. We didn't get to see the gentleman take his shirt off, but I will live with disappointment. Maybe. They're going to be here tomorrow too. You know, the contributions of the comedy do not end. As long as we can continue supporting Precious Landing, we will. But I think that my two colleagues up here will allow me to speak for them when I quote one of my favorite role models from years past, Red Skelton, because I believe these gentlemen feel the same way. If someday you're not feeling well, you should remember some little thing that we said or did here tonight. And if it brings a smile to your face or a chuckle to your heart, then our purpose as clowns has been fulfilled. And we very much hope that we have fulfilled that purpose tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention. And remember, on currency, there are no less than 93 different communicable disease bacteria. If you want to go home healthy, get rid of it. That is a sterile box. They will see to it that it is disposed of appropriately. You do not want the incredible con crud here. That money is filthy. Get it out of your system. In the meantime, we're going to go find a bar.